Hi friends, my name's Greta. This is my podcast, Thought Experiment called Life. I made this for creative people who are multi-passionate, who are interested in everything. I cover a lot of different topics. I don't really fit into a niche. As you, I'm sure, can see in the show description, I talk about everything from mindset to having chronic autoimmune disease. For me, it was Lyme disease, herbalism, nutrition, jujitsu, self-defense, music. Ultimately, I want this to be a place where you can find some inspiration and be able to hear stories. I interview friends of mine who are incredible people and new people that I'm meeting who can share their stories. I want you to have a place that you can come and know that you're not alone in whatever struggle you may be going through, have some different ways to look at things to help navigate those struggles as well. I have really dealt a lot with mindset just from having a chronic autoimmune disease for over 20 years or so. All of my adult life. And I like to pass those things along. I'm not a mental health professional. My sister is. I will have her on and she can talk more clinically about things. So the things that I share really are, my experience and to offer kind of insight into that. I do love to pass along resources. I love to pass along ideas and concepts and ways to think about things that are a little bit different. That is what helped me. It was other people sharing their stories and sharing their different ways of looking at things that really helped me get through some of the darkest and most challenging times in my life. That's why I wanted to do this podcast. I wanted to pass something along. I think also because I don't have children, this is sort of my what I would tell them and what I would pass along. Instead, I have beautiful community and I'm kind of like a anti-big sister role at this point in my life, which I cherish so much. So there's a couple things that I wanted to share today, and I'm just they're just the things to think about. This is kind of how I always frame things. It's like something to think about, and I say that because different things land for us at different times. Like I've listened to the same audiobooks a billion times, and I'll listen to something and get a different take on it each time because something different is resonating. So that's kind of how I think about this. So there's I've seen a lot on Instagram and in general memes I match energy. If people come at you with some kind of I'll match your energy kind of thing, and I don't I don't match energy. I used to, and I used to just protect myself from energy. So I've talked a lot about just having anxiety, depression, and autoimmune disease all together, and just being a very sensitive. I sense a lot, and there's a lot of us who are like that. We just are we sense a lot. I talk about that quite a bit. And so it's growing up with that. It was and then being in my early 20s or so, I would say, especially when Lyme disease kicked in really hard, I would really just try to protect myself from all of the bad energy. That's how I really got into when I started making crystal jewelry. Those of you who know me from my haute couture days, I was black tourmaline and smoky quartz and all of this to protect me and from all of this bad energy, because I didn't have any tools to cope with it. I didn't have the tools that I have now. I didn't have ways to think about things or breathing techniques or knowing that going out into nature and really recharging my spirit and the therapy and mindfulness and all of these things that help us protect our energy, and actually beyond protect our energy, which is what I'm talking about today. All of those tools I just didn't have. I was just ow, my soul, this all hurts, that hurts, everything hurts. I talked about in a recent episode, the meme of Alice in Wonderland. She's talking to the Cheshire Cat and he goes, "Everyone's mad here." And she goes, "At me?" And so that was kind of the mindset that I had at that time. And it was, I felt like energy protection was where it's at. And that changed for me when my sister and I went to a healing workshop with our friend Sally. Sally's friend was doing a workshop, and it was really awesome. I loved it. And I talked to her at the end, and she really gave me a different way of thinking about things, where at that time, again, I was healing from Lyme disease. And when you have Lyme disease or any kind of autoimmune disease, but specifically Lyme disease, the fatigue that goes with it is just on another level. It's kind of you haven't slept in a bunch of days, and getting dressed is hard. It's you need a bubble to some extent to help so you get your energy back up. So I wasn't ready to do what she was talking about, but the concept that she said really changed things for me. And so, I was like, surround myself in white light or black tourmaline and all of this and just protect my energy no matter where I go, because we had a lot of community who was, having their own crises of energy and mindset and all that, and it was very chaotic. And she was like, think about it differently. Think about it as if you are actually transforming the energy. And I didn't feel like I had enough energy to do that at the time, but I was like, interesting. I'd like to get to that place where instead of absorbing or protecting, blocking energy, I'm actually going to transform the energy. And one of the things I used to love about, I still love about smoky quartz, the thing I used to love to share about it, I should say, the meaning for it and whether or not, like, I think the whole crystal thing, like, if you resonate with something, if it makes you feel happy in a certain way, then go for it. Like, we can all infer our own meanings for all these things, right? That's how I feel about it. But the meaning that I would always see with smoky quartz, and I just love smoky quartz, is that it was like a filter. It would transform negative energy into positive energy. So it would it would transform. And I used that as a metaphor for how I wanted to be. I wanted to be somebody who would transmute the energy around me. So if I go into a space and there's funky energy, it doesn't mean that I'm going to like go into the room and be like, hey everybody, we'd be real positive and like do like things that I wouldn't normally do. But this is where I find just energy transactions in general, like are the mystical side of things, right? You can just be who you are, but really stand in your energy, grounded in a new space. And then, of course, you'll talk to people and you'll have different interactions. But just by being in that space and being intentional about you being bright and having that energy, and also knowing their energy is not fucking with your energy. You are just like, shining so bright in a room that it's transforming it, and play with it. See how it goes. Because it's like, it's really cool when it happens, when you're able to go into a space and, not think about how so-and-so is like rude all the time or whatever, maybe, of course, there are times where like, I know there's scenarios where I just go, I'm just not going to be around that person because I don't want to be. I don't even want to be responsible for having to be part of the energy of the room. And that's the whole like codependent healing side of things, where I'm not responsible for everyone else's feelings. However, I like to bring a good vibe if I can bring a good vibe. So, if I'm going to go somewhere, I am going to hopefully just be in my bright energy because I've decided to go somewhere, and that's how I like to show up. And that really just made me feel so much more comfortable in so many ways, and have seen, I've been able to be a positive influence and a positive vibe when I go places, if I'm teaching, if I'm training, whatever, I'm working, any of those things, just being able to stay in that energy. And instead of thinking about protecting all the time, it's like I'm not going to match somebody's energy. I'm just going to be in the space that I'm in. And so a lot of times I'll do breath of fire. Like if I have somewhere to go where I'm nervous about the energy, or if I'm nervous about if I can show up that way or whatever. Breath of fire is usually my favorite go-to personally for that. So if you've seen like the breath of fire, it's like kind of like, it's a Kundalini breath work that you'll see, but I've seen it in other modalities too. You're sort of like doing a dog panting, but you're out your nose. So you're just like that. I don't want to snot all over everything. So I can link a video where somebody actually teaches it. But even doing 3 minutes of that in the morning has been really, really helpful. It really kind of like, I picture it like because you're just doing that exhale, like you're like blowing out your aura to get real woo about it. So I'm making like a big energetic field around me that does protect me, but it also just transforms the energy around me. And I love that in particular. That's probably my number one favorite way to do that. Obviously, being in nature and just having a mindset, feeling like mentally. I've talked about Louise Hay before. She would always talk about like, if you're going to go somewhere, she's like, even if you go to the grocery store, like she was just the best. Wherever, if you're going to go shopping, if you're going to go to your family's house, if you're worried about whatever, mentally fill that space with, I usually do like rose quartzy kind of like pink light mentally, but fill that space with that energy before you go. cover everybody mentally, that you're going to see with that energy as well, So yes, I'm sure some people are like, oh, this is ridiculous. And that's fine. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. But it really does resonate with me. It's helped me a lot. And I know it helps a lot of other people. And, if it helps, that's really what's important. And it's something that, you can do before things that are scary to do, stressful to do. I just had a family vacation and I did it a lot. And family vacation went really well and I was really, really happy. But I think also, I was worried that maybe there'd be some like arguments, and instead, I instead of me like worrying about it, I was really just focusing on putting like that positive, loving energy out there. And just by having a little bit of mental time to focus on doing that, it changes how I show up to a room. And I wager that everyone else in the family was also doing something like that too. And everyone showed up in like a good space and we had a great time. And so this is why I call this podcast Thought Experiment Called Life, because we really can shift, we all, like the family vacation, we all could have been like, oh no, the last time we did this, so-and-so fought or whatever, there was tension here and then somebody exploded and blah, 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 blah. But it hasn't happened yet this time. So that was in the past. And, everyone can approach it a little bit differently. And instead of matching each other's energy, which might be fear that we're going to repeat the same cycle, instead, we're actually bringing a new, higher energy to the table, one that is loving, one that sees a higher possibility for the whole entire experience. So I don't match energy. And if this resonates with you, I recommend that you try this approach instead. If you've been matching energy and it's just been resulting in you feeling shitty afterwards, because that's what used to happen. I would match somebody's energy, I would feel shitty, it'd be a whole thing. And you're wasting your time, your precious life energy on these things, right? Like it's the whole not my circus, not my monkeys. If they have a circus and the monkeys that are not yours, like then focus on your own circus and your own monkeys and have them do something cooler. And then you're going to inspire people around you to also do something cooler. And I've seen it time and time again. Definitely something I wanted to pass along. Just something to bring to your life, bring to your work, bring to your family gatherings, bring to your friend gatherings. It's something that we really need so much in this world too. And we can practice this for the world at large as well. There are tremendous things happening in our world that if we match that energy, it's not a good look for us in the future. So instead, it's not about, ignoring what's happening, but it's just about being able to bring a better approach to what is happening. And new possibilities occur, new paths occur. And yeah, I think that's like incredibly necessary and important right now. So I hope that resonates with you a little bit. And if it does, please share it with somebody if you want to leave comments or whatever. This is my love note, really. I do this because I want to pass this along. People have shared stories and their own insights that help me in my life. And there's a lot of things that I like to pass along as resources because you never know who it helps. It's just kind of like the vibe that I want to bring to the world. So I'd love to see you here again. You feel free to connect with me, and I will see you on the next episode.